Mobile payment apps like Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal are convenient ways to send money to your friends and family. But after seeing some bank failures earlier this year, consumer protection groups have some warnings about those apps. So we're getting some tips to protect your money from our tech expert, my buddy Dave Hatter. So good to see you, Dave. How you doing?
I'm good, Sheila. As always, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So we heard that warning that people shouldn't leave a lot of money in these apps. Why is that?
Well, Sheila, you know, I'm a tinfoil hat guy, and I'm sure you could guess I don't use any of these apps.
I was gonna say that. I knew you don't use these apps, but I do,
I
so I
just
need
go
to
ahead
know.
and get that out there, you know. But understand, I mean, these are legitimate apps, right? These are legitimate companies. And there's really two concerns in my mind. A, people use these things and they don't configure them correctly. They don't have a strong, unique password. They don't have multi-factor authentication turned on. And anytime there's money involved, hackers are going to be there, right? And there's an increasing number of scams because, of course, there's an increasing number of people using these apps. But the thing that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau warned about recently is, you know, because people are now very comfortable with these apps, they are using them more like banks, especially younger people. All my kids use these things all the time. And the warning is you have no consumer protections with these. You know, if you buy something with a credit card, there's a limit to how much you're at risk for if you report a problem quickly. These companies are private companies. They're not banks. They're not subject to these regulations. And let's say, for example, I buy something from you, Sheila, and I send you money. If you just leave that sitting in that account and you don't sweep it out back to your bank or something, if the company fails, if your account gets hacked or whatever, you're just out that money. There's literally nothing that can be done. And that's been one of the knocks on these companies is when people have problems, there's really no recourse. They just kind of say, oh, sorry about your luck.
Yeah. So what you mentioned that scammers are always trying to get people's money, like by maybe having stolen passwords or things like that. What are some of the ways they can get in?
Well, you know, Sheila, a lot of it's the same kind of things we see on other platforms. But again, because there's money here, and because there's been a huge surge of people using these kind of apps because they really are super convenient. You know, you see things like romance scams. Someone looks you up, wants to, you know, potentially be a suitor to you, needs some money for some reason, you send it to them and then they disappear. You see things like the infamous, and this is probably one of the most well-known scams, oops, I accidentally sent you money. So the bad guys have a stolen credit card number, okay, that's going to be invalidated as soon as someone realizes this. And the bank cancels it, they send money to your account accidentally, oops, and then ask you to send it back. So you being a good person, send it back. All of a sudden, that credit card is invalidated, and that money that was in your account is now gone. That's unfortunately a very common scam. So it's a lot of the, you know, don't click a link that claims to be from Venmo or PayPal or something. If there's a quote problem, reach out to them. And then, of course, if you think you're a victim of any kind of fraud, you need to reach out to these companies as quickly as possible. And ultimately, the real, again, warning from CPFB is don't leave your money in these systems. Unfortunately, the best way to use it is set it up, transfer the money in, transfer the money to whoever you want to pay. If you get a payment, transfer the money back into your bank so that it's not sitting in these accounts where it's a lot easier to be stolen than it would be in your bank.
And Dave is always,
Dave
is always telling us about really strong passwords and two-factor authentication. Yep. Those are some other safeguards too. Dave, appreciate the insight today.
Always my pleasure, Sheila. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, keep paying that allowance on that Venmo to your kids.